meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Steve King.
Present.
Council members Richard Orphan.
Here.
Rich Scordahl.
Here.
Tim Brown.
Here. Next, I will entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Brown makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Orphan. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting tonight's agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Mr. Orphan makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting tonight's consent agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Meeting open to the public. Barb, has anyone signed up?
Yes, we've had 4 different people sign up. The first one is Tim Bowen.
Okay, Tim, you'll come up, give your name and address, and we'll give you 3 minutes to talk to us.
3 minutes? I'd like to make this in 3 minutes. I'll do the best I can. Tim Boland, mailing address is P.O. Box 457, St. Francis, Minnesota. I'd like to thank you for my 3 minutes of freedom of speech. I'm glad I said the Pledge of Allegiance. In that Pledge of Allegiance, in that, there's a phrase, to the Republic. One person has stated the meaning of to the Republic. A state in which a sovereign power is invested in representing times chosen by the people of the government. And the government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, and not from the leaders to the people. I'd just like to make that little definition. So, this meeting, I believe, is what I'm out here for, is for the discussion of the tax rates of the city. And because we got our county appraisal taxes in, and it was stated that this is the meeting that we're supposed to come to. So I know that I believe we're just supposed to be talking about the taxes of the city. I'm going to leave that to the residents that actually live here in this town and that exist in this town. I'm here to ask the council, okay, to give direction and advice to the county assessor about the economics of the town and the valuation of the properties and the buildings and the businesses according to the economics of the depressed area and also distressed area. Okay, so I understand that the value of all the properties have been depressed over the past 6-7 years, and that the city had to keep on raising the taxes for growing expenses. But the values are not rebounding as fast as what the assessor feels that they're rebounding. A couple of examples. 2015, we sold a house for $77,000. The value is $97,000. 2016, we sold a house for $156,000. The value was $167,000. All of the properties on the statements that I looked at seem to have increased $10,000 to $20,000 in the last year. To me, that's very unrealistic. Some of the properties have increased 48%, 40%, 25%, 18%. Last year, we just got done negotiating our leases with the post offices in the area. And the federal government, we have to sit and discuss this with the federal government and the post office real estate agents. And they use the slide rate lease figures. And the federal government has one classification as a depressed area in this area. And the rental that they figured that we should be at is in the 1990s. So we had a choice of trying to, play the game of raising the rate or just accept that the rate that they're going to give us, or just maybe not even have a post office. So we have to just accept that rate because we felt this community needed the post office, St. Francis and East Bethel. So with that in mind, I'm happy that we've accepted it so that we still have a post office. I don't know if you remember years ago, they're looking at closing post offices. Well, this is probably one reason why. This is probably one reason why they were using this negotiation little deal to keep their post offices running. So I understand that because it's a business type of thing. So number two, with that in mind, I feel that if that's the case, then the building should go back to the mid-1990s for evaluation. And also, if that's the case, then the tax rate that we're getting taxed on these buildings should go back to the mid-1990s also. Because they've set the precedent, the precedent of this is what they feel this area is worth to pay. So basically, they've said that this is a depressed area. All right, so with that, this is all I have to say concerning the tax issues. Years ago, I've done this before, and in the previous year, this is 10 years ago, the council members would actually, there's nobody here from the tax assessor's office. So usually in the past, the tax assessor, somebody from the tax assessor's office would be here, and the council would direct them to say, we have a problem here, we want you to take care of it. So I would like the council to go and address this issue to the tax assessor, to get some realistic figures up here. All right, a couple of side notes. Here goes. Am I still past my 3 minutes?
Well, you are, but this wasn't the time to bring up the taxes. That's coming up. You can just go ahead and finish it while you're going.
Sit down.
No, go ahead and finish it while
That's
you're
what
going.
I signed up for.
No, you didn't have to sign up for that, for the taxes.
No,
But that's fine, Tim, go ahead.
all right, so the $60 water fee that we get for the water runoff, okay? I understand why Howard City does it, okay? So what I don't understand is I'm paying the city for the water to run off the street onto my property, and then I have to dispense of the water. That's what I don't understand. If someone could eventually explain that to me, but not now, okay? A note for the economic developer, I don't know, is she here?
Yes, that's right here.
I have a note for you. Okay, I know we've been told that we're just a two-bit operation, and that we're bad for the development of this community, and that we don't fit into the development plan, and that we're still devoted to this community, and we're going to try our own way to help this community grow. And you got a lot more bigger problems ahead of you than just us. So, we're not Minnetonka, we're not Bloomington, we're St. Francis. Let's go back to the 80s, the 90s, and build again, because that's when we built. Winston Churchill once said, look into the past to build your future. This statement was made on my feelings and facts. Thank you very much for my extended freedom of speech.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, if anybody else wants to talk about the tax base, that time is coming up. You don't need to do that now, so who's next, Barb?
Kent? Enter?
Okay, please give your name and address for the record.
Sure thing. That's one of the first times I've had somebody properly pronounce my name, so I get to celebrate. From 2930, 239 Ave, St. Francis. I'm not sure if this is possible. It's a 3-minute conversation one way. I'm hoping it's a 2-way conversation, right? My question's about the open council position, right? We've got a special, I was here 2 weeks ago, last meeting, and understood from that meeting that there's going to be a special council meeting on the 12th. We're going to do some interviews, and then I'm assuming that the current city council is going to vote as to who that replacement's going to be. Is that per city statute that requires us to have that taken care of before the new council is seated? It is? Yeah. Okay, so now we know where to go to probably correct that, right? Because it sounds to me like, looks to me like it's an ethics question, right? You got a new mayor, and most of the new council coming in on the 3rd of January, right? We've got a conversation that's on the docket for tonight that we don't need our meeting on the 15th or whatever the second meeting is this month because, not that much is going on and it's the holidays. So we probably don't need to have that council meeting. But we got to decide on the 12th who's going to be in this position for the next couple of years, decided on by the current council. And I appreciate you guys' time, and I know it's, but it's an ethics question for me, right? Should it be you guys, or should we wait 2 more weeks and let the new council have a conversation, do the interviews, and decide who they would like to see in the position? It's not going to be open for the city to be able to vote. I think it should be the new city council that makes that decision. So I don't imagine there's going to be a lot of conversation that night. That's all I'm looking for. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Barb?
Kelly Anderson.
Kelly Anderson, 3220 Ridge Street, Northwest, Suite 105, St. Francis. I just wanted to introduce myself and get to know more about the community and opening a child care center just down the road in St. Francis Mall. So I just kind of wanted to get to know the community and let you guys know that I'm out here. Just went through licensing a couple weeks ago and now we're licensed. So we are enrolling, just kind of letting you know that we're here. It's called Destination Academy. Infants through preschool right now, and then we'll be doing before and after school and summer care upcoming as well. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Barb?
Bob King on tax appeal.
Not the time, is it?
So you want on the taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have your moment here shortly.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, we're moving on to the 2017 proposed budget presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, residents, and staff. Tonight, we are required to have time to discuss the 2017 budget and levy, allow for public comment, and then after that's done, council can finalize the budget and the levy. This budget process started way back in April. Salaries were estimated, and then May, the department heads received their worksheets to complete their budgets. And then in June, we do revenue estimates, debt service amounts are calculated, capital budgets are worked on, and then the department head requests are given back to me. In June, July, and August, I enter the data into all the spreadsheets to try and calculate what levy we are going to propose to the city council to cover all of our costs. In September, the preliminary levy is set, and at this point, the levy cannot go up, but it can be lowered before the December meeting. Then in December, as tonight, we set the final levy, and the budgets are in, they're all approved by council. After that point, I will certify to the county what place on the 2017 tax rolls. And then in approximately February sometime, the final budget book will be finished, and that will be submitted to the GFOA. Tonight, there is a proposed budget online. It's a shortened version. It has all the funds in it. So when we're doing the budget, our goals have always been to maintain high quality and cost-effective public services, address any priorities set by City Council, and maintain a strong fiscal position. As you can see, the 2017 levy is set at $3,244,573. This is a 0% increase. It did not increase from 2016. There are some different categories. There is the total general revenue fund, which is at $3,203,203, which is further broken down to what goes into the general fund, which is $2,980,053. And then in capital equipment, there's $223,150 that goes in there to fund any future capital equipment needs. There are 2 debt service levies that are on the books, one for the 2013 issue, which is $20,900, and then the 2015 issue, which is $20,470. Now, this slide shows you the history of this levy that the City of St. Francis has placed on the tax rolls for the last 10 years, since 2008. And you can see there has been an increase over the 10 years. The increase has been $571,958. This is a 21% increase over the 10 years. So if you average that out, that is only a 2.14% increase per year. But as you notice, there are several years that it's held the same, like the years 2010 to 12, we were under levy limits, we could not raise them. And then again, in 2014, we were under levy limits. So a few weeks ago, all taxpayers who had gotten a proposed tax notice in the mail. Sometimes this may be, I don't know, real confusing to people, but first thing I would look at is up in the right corner, there is a part that says values and classifications. And you can see that the estimated market value on this property was at $206,200. For 2017, it was increased to $215,500. Now, those increases would have been emailed or mailed out to the taxpayer last spring, and there is a time in the spring that you can go to the county and talk to them about any value changes or what your value is on your property. We used to do it here at City Council, but now the county is taking that over. So that is the time you get the notice way back in the winter, and you have to know to go to that meeting to talk about your value. Now, since this property increased its value, it did lose part of its market value exclusion. And to talk about that, market value exclusion starts out at $30,400. And for a property that's valued at $76,000, they get that whole market value exclusion. That comes off. That you don't get taxed on that market value exclusion. But as the home value goes up, you lose that part of that exclusion. And so for every amount over the $76,000, you lose 9%. Where it gets to be a home at $413,780, they have no market value exclusion left. So then that brings it down to a taxable market value, and then they do one more calculation, which is they take it times 0.01, and that gives your tax capacity rate. That's the amount that's taken times the tax rate for the city, the county, everything to determine your taxes. So then looking down farther, I'm going to just talk about the city taxes. That's what we are looking at. is this property, their city taxes actually went down by about $24. And I'll talk about it later, but overall, most properties should have seen, residential properties should have seen a drop unless the value changed drastically. So when you're talking about property taxes, what affects it? The market value changes, any levies set by all the different districts, including county and city, and then fiscal disparities, which is a program where 40% of any increase in commercial and industrial buildings since 1971 goes into this metro, 7-county metro area, and taxes are done on that, and then that's spread to the communities. So we actually see a benefit from it because when the Mall of America went in, that industrial value went in, 40% of that went in there, and we get some of those tax dollars here in the city of St. Francis. Our commercial and industrial, though, if anything new comes in, 40% goes into the pot. Interesting enough, I did look up, and in 2017, our overall market value, estimated market value for the city of St. Francis is for $433 million. In 2016, it was 409. So there have been increases. There's about $7 million worth of new construction added. The other portion of that would just be the increases the county has put onto the different properties. So looking at what did this do to residential homes, our tax levy this year, and you can see if your market value stayed the same, you would have seen a drop. A $100,000 home would have seen a drop in their city taxes of $30.40. A lot of them have changed value, so you have to adjust for that, but just if it would have stayed the same, you would have seen a drop because our estimated market value has gone up and our taxes have stayed the same. So, moving over to the general fund revenues, you can see here, they are proposed this year at $4,367,898. Of course, the biggest portion of that is our taxes, which is 68% of the revenues. The next biggest one is intergovernmental, which is 13%. I'm reading the number right. And then the next one is charges for services at 10%. Now, intergovernmental includes our LGA, which is local government aid. We get some aid for fire department, police department, and that's all in there. And charges for services includes our contract with Nowden for building inspection, our contract with the school district for liaison officers. Local government aid is the biggest part of that intergovernmental, and you can see the history since 2007 of the local government aid that we have received. Now, when it dropped there for many years, that's when the state took away that money from the cities because the state's budget was not very good. And a couple of those, like the first year, we didn't even know it. They did it in the middle of the year. We were in our budget cycle and they took it away. So we ended up having to cut a bunch of things. It's stabilized, it's gone up a little bit. We see an increase of about $3,000 for this year. Moving over to the expenditures on the general fund, you can see the breakdown there, and expenditures are at $4,367,898. This is the same as the government's. The biggest portion of the expenditures is for public safety, which is our police and our fire department. The next one is general government at 19%. That's administration, that's finance, that's assessing, that's several different categories there. And then the next one is public works, which is for street maintenance and recycling. But as I said, it equals the revenues, so we are not increasing or decreasing based on the 2017 budget. And if you look at the budget book that was online, and on page 1 is the general fund, with the estimate of 2016, we're looking at a fund balance that is about 72.3% of revenues. It is a really good fund balance right now. We will have to have the discussions next year of what do we want to do. We've got some room to maybe do something with that money. The state auditor's office does recommend a 35 to 50% fund balance. So, a median home valued house is $140,900. They would pay next year $630.28. That broken down to monthly amount is $50.33. And you can see the breakdown. They would pay $9.58 for the general government, $20.76 for our public safety, $8.06 for streets and recycling, $3.35 for parks and trails, $4.24 for community development, and then $4.34 for all others, including transfers. And one thing I'd like to note there, the one big transfer is $360,000. That goes out to the EDA lease revenue bonds to pay for the police public works building debt. So a little bit more information on those different categories. As I talked before, the general government includes the council, charter commission, administration, elections, finance, auditing, assessing, legal, and building. We manage a more than $10 million budget. We manage and enforce city codes. We coordinate the functions of the city council, the economic development authority, planning commission, and charter commission, and we could coordinate election commissions. Public safety is 24/7 police and fire responses in town. They respond to calls for services such as medicals, thefts, property crimes, and crimes against the person. Other services include vehicle lockouts, home security checks, and the drug drop-off. Educational opportunities are available such as Eddie the Eagle and anti-bullying campaign. Streets and recycling. We, of course, take care of the snow and ice control, the street patching and crack filling, street lighting, gravel road maintenance, tree trimming, and recycle days. Parks and trails, they do the safety and fall protection around playground equipment, ball field maintenance, building maintenance, grounds maintenance, and parking lot maintenance, skating rinks, and then trail maintenance. And then community development. They do the building inspections of all the residential and commercial properties, economic development to support the city growth, housing construction, zoning and permits for new and ongoing development. They receive rental applications and process the required inspections. They do vacant building registrations and do the required inspections. They do fences, swimming pools, and driveway permits. And they receive citizen concerns and try and work towards rectifying the situations. For the 2017 budget, we have budgeted this 5 part-time city council members. We have 4 in administration, including the city clerk and the city administrator. We have 1 in finance, that's me. We have 13 in police, which includes the 2 people in the office, plus 11 sworn officers, including our police chief. 21 on Call Fire Department. 10 in the streets, parks, recycling, water, sewer. That includes the new person that was approved last council meeting. We have 3 in community development and inspections, and we have 2 full-time and 5 part-time liquor stores. So in total, we have 33 budgeted full-time people and 31 part-time and on-call. In the budget book, there are many other funds in there. Every fund has a budget that is being approved. The enterprise funds are in there. Those are the major funds that people will talk about: the water, the wastewater, the stormwater and the liquor fund, and those all start on page 41. If you were interested in looking at that, they can do that. And with that, that concludes my presentation for the night. If the council has any questions, I certainly can answer them.
Council, do you have any questions? Okay. Hearing none, Mr.
Happy
Dempsey.
to open up the
Yep.
meeting for public input. Thank you.
At this time, we'll open up the meeting for public input. If you'd like to come up and speak with us, it is 6:30, Barb.
I am Bob King, on the market, at the shopping center down the road. I'm here to learn something by accident. You're listening to, or who's up here, you were, and, you know, I have my tax papers here, and I have, you know, just repeated one or two things that Tim has to say, or had to say, and that was, I wasn't able to go down, wasn't around for that December county, December 1st meeting at the county. Now, I understand you said that you go to the county in the spring, is that right?
To talk to them about valuations, yes.
Oh, you can, for 2017,
It would be for the 2018.
18.
They're a year ahead.
All right, and Tim posed a question if Roy actually stated that years ago, he did ask for the council's help in getting some revaluations figured here. Now, I do have the property down there that got 16-17% increases. And you know, the rent is not up 16-17% a year ago. And it would amount to someone had the wisdom of putting $300,000 improvements on, or increased value on one building, $350 on another. And it just doesn't work that way. Tenants pay taxes, and if the taxes go up too high, they leave. I've been hearing from them water rates. We all know about that. And they've voiced a lot of complaints about it. I do very firsthand how city employee was in the store once, and we're coming up on the 10th. I say, hey, will you take these down? And they were all water bills. And he said, yeah, no problems. Wow, thanks. I heard that from about 2 miles away. And it was $2,000 water bills that tenants paid. All I'm asking is that if there's a way for, I don't think they're coming up here doing visuals on these market valuations. They could. And it's just tough to get tenants to come and stay. So there's, and also there is, Tim said too, he ran through the guy working in the post office that is depressed. You know, they gave him the document that I have here is, so I'm glad to give you, it's called Distressed. And the green, it's that's like the side of 47, but it's by the Baker Tilly Corporation, who does government grants. And it says, and that's a specific area, and I don't know why. It's because that was a newer whole part of town, and the newest houses, and they're built just before the recession. If they all, did not go foreclosure, there's a lot of turnover there. A lot of homes went back to the banks, and the shopping center is in that area. And there's vacant lots. We still have a vacant lot there. So I love this town. It's been good to us. I try to be good to to the town. You've got wonderful kids here. Over the years, I've heard some not so nice things coming out of the high school, but I'll tell you, we've got the best kids being the crop. And I do mean that. They come to work in high school and they stick around, they get married to their high school sweetheart, buy homes in the area, and that's many, many people here, so I don't want to go anywhere. So I just ask that you get an appraiser up here, if you can. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Joe, will you take a look into that? I think, between what Mr. Holman's got and the income survey we did earlier this year, I think we've got some ammunition.
Okay.
Look into that. Thank you. Okay, and would anybody else like to speak? Anyone else like to speak on the taxes? And we'll consider this public meeting closed, 6:36. Moving on to ordinance and resolutions. Resolution 2016-61, certifying taxes payable in 2017. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I want to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2016-61.
Okay, Mr. Skordahl makes a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-61 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to Resolution 2016-62, adopting a budget for 2017. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Brown makes the motion for approval.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Orpin makes the second. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-62 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to Resolution 2016-63, license renewals for 2017. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we adopt 2016-63.
Okay, Mr. Orpin makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion before I call for the question?
Just have one question. I'm going by memory because Barb something got screwed up someplace. All we can download right now is just the agenda, not the packet. So I was looking at the packet this afternoon, and I think this is the subject where the golf course wants to have their license prorated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and we're absolutely definite in here as that is from what date to what date? Because if people are golfing on March 15th, they know that they don't have a liquor license until April 1st or whatever, right?
What they can do, they can get a caterer's license, and they do have one, so they could start up earlier. But
Okay.
in the years past, the odds of it have not been great.
You know, this is the first year I ever golfed in December or November in St. Francis, so you never know. But that was my only question, just to make sure that it's crystal clear what they can and can't do, given they're a seasonal kind of business. But that was my only question.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-63 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 2016-64 declaring surplus property. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2016-64.
Mr. Skordahl makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Orpin. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-64 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 2016-65, provide a cost of living adjustment for wages of non-union city employees for 2017. This time I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Brown makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second.
Second by Mr. Scornall. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Yes.
Do we know what our union member, our employees settled for?
I believe it's 2.5%, and then they get 0.5%, or 2%, excuse me, 2% into their health savings account.
So-
That's why we went with the extra 0.5%.
And that is included in this 3%, or that is not?
No.
So it's like 3.5%?
Well, they got 2.5%, union does,
Okay,
plus another 2% into their health savings account, over and above that 2.5%.
okay,
So what we did is we gave the non-union, since they don't get that, 0.5%.
okay,
And that's when we get to the 3%.
yep.
Okay? Any further questions?
Nope.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-65, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 2016-66. Before I entertain a motion, I've heard a rumor and I want to make this perfectly clear that city staff did not make any mistakes in this abatement issue. This is the way it's set up through Anoka County, and city staff is working to figure out how to circumvent that for the future. So city staff did nothing wrong here. It's just the way it's set up and everything fell through. Okay? So in saying that, I will now entertain a motion for 2016-66.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Brown makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Scorlall seconds. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-66 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
One opposed. Okay, moving on to Resolution 2016-67, canceling the second meeting in December. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 2016-67.
Okay, Mr. Orpin makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-67 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Ordinance 226, second series, setting the fee schedule for 2017. This is the second reading. I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Brown makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Orpin. Is there any discussion before I call for the vote? This will be a roll call vote. Mr. Orpin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Scornall?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. Motion passes. Moving on to Resolution 2016-69, a resolution authorizing the summary publication of Ordinance 226, second series, amending Section 2-9-1 of the City Code regarding the fee schedule for the City of St. Francis. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion we adopt Resolution 2016-69.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Scornall to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Orpin. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-69 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to reports of consultants and staff members, the Community Economic Development.
Mayor and Council, before you in your packet is information tied to a request for TIF financing from Legion for an 81-unit senior housing facility. The current construction estimates are to begin in May of 2017 and be completed with an open This is for a 3-story structure to accommodate 56 assisted living and 25 memory care units. There are steps that need to be followed to ensure we meet city and state requirements, as this request is for $1.5 million of a $15 million project budget. The first step that was required was the application process to meet the city's business subsidy policy that we passed last spring. I received the required documentation, including the application, narratives, time frame, a market study, and the performance. The building and site plans were approved by the Planning Commission and Council through Resolution 2015-61 in November of 2015. The second step of the process is why I'm before you today. When received, the application was forwarded to Northland Security for review for the qualifications. TIF funding requires several steps to meet state statutes, and tonight's action will initiate as part of that process. As outlined in the agenda report, the process requires meeting with the EDA in January, comment periods with the school district and the county, and to come back to council on February 6th for the public hearing. On the February 6th date, council will look to either adopt or deny the plan and the development agreement that addresses cost, development activity, duration of subsidy, and the overall public benefit of a subsidy such as this. So tonight I have before you 2 actions. First is the request for Resolution 2016-68 to call for a public hearing on February 6th. Calling for the hearing sets the process in motion to begin the steps for a proposed housing TIF district. The resolution identifies that the establishment, financing, and adoption of the plan will be handled at that February 6th meeting. And then second is the agreement with our financial planner, Northland Securities, to process and establish the TIF financing and meeting those state statutes. TIF is a very complicated process, and the agreement includes the underwriting to assure the subsidy meets the state statutes and the development of the plan. The cost outlined within the agreement with Northland Securities is a cost up to, and that is actually paid through our escrow process with the applicant themselves. I'm here to answer any questions.
Council, do we have any questions?
No, I think so.
Thank you, Kate. With that, then I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 2016-68.
Make approval for that resolution.
Okay, Mr. Brown makes an approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Orban. Any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 2016-68 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I'll now entertain a motion to enter into a financial planning agreement with Northland Securities.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we enter into a financial planning agreement with Northland Securities.
Okay, Mr. Skordal makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Orban. Any discussion before I call for the question? All those in favor of entering into a financial planning agreement with Northland Securities signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to finance. Yeah, I get my other papers in. Once again, it is my pleasure, number 5, to present an award to our finance director, Darcy Mulvihill. Let me read this first while I'm sitting. The award of financial reporting achievement is presented by the Government Finance Officers Association to the individuals designated as instrumental in their government union achieving a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. A certificate of achievement is presented to those government units whose annual financial reports are judged to adhere to program standards and represents the highest award in government financial reporting. This is kind of a big deal, guys. Darcy, would you meet? By the way, this is the 6th time that we in a row the city has received this award. Darcy, on behalf of the city, thank you and congratulations. Next, Fire Department, fire calls report.
Mayor and Council, good evening. Before you tonight in your package is the fire department report of fire calls and activities, and secondly, the succession plan update report. Just a little background on the fire department that started in 1963 in May. Only 20 people in our community can say that they probably hold the title of a firefighter for our community. Our firefighters are all paid on call and they respond from their home or jobs. The firefighters are paid on call, of course, and they have full-time jobs. Some of the jobs, not as coding any, but are jailers, grocery managers, engineers, ER techs, carpenters, landscape and maintenance, lawn maintenance, railroad boiler workers, EMTs, paramedics, electricians, and more. This is a wide range of talent that are members of our fire department. The fire department is a large toolbox for the community to call, to fix, and help any situation, an emergency, or dilemma. If they call us if they can't figure out something, we're there to help. That's why we have to train for whatever we can. This is who makes up your St. Francis Fire Department. A little update that I didn't put in the packet on HeartSafe. We just recently did the 7th grade at the middle school, and we're going to try to continue on that and do some at the elementary school with the plan right now. We're still working forward. Guess I'm opening it up with questions. Just for the people viewing, we've had 209 calls through October 31st. We just had to have an ending point for apps and stuff, but we obviously had more since then. But I'll open up for any questions.
Council? Yes, Mr. Whitman?
How, do we do a lot of training to deal with medicals? Because I noticed that's like, seems to be the majority of the calls that we're taking now.
Yeah, we didn't include that in the packet, but every second Wednesday of the month is medical training for our department, so we have a line that teaches their medical.
And is there, kind of a follow-up, is there any future plans to kind of alter the vehicles that we purchase so we don't have to bring a big rig to a medical? Because this seems unnecessary.
Yeah, right now for medical calls, we currently are using like a Ford pickup truck, so it's a smaller vehicle, unless it's an accident or something like that.
Okay.
And that's a multi-response.
Okay.
I guess to also answer your question, we do have a vehicle replacement plan that's set, just goes for all the years.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. On to our city administrator.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, on April 20th of 2016, we had 2 applicants for the police chief position. Both were successfully backgrounded by our workplace assessment consultant. With the passing of Chief Raylan, we're looking to fill that police chief position permanently. Acting Chief Schweiger has done a tremendous job in his short time holding down the department. So with that, staff is looking to either appoint Acting Chief Schweiger as a permanent police chief or discuss any other potential recruitment selection process. Just to note that if we were to appoint Acting Chief Schweiger as a permanent police chief here, we would have to delete Section D of the attached personnel policy because his brother Nathan is the investigator with the St. Francis Police Department.
Council? Yes, Mr. Whitman?
I think we should appoint Sergeant Schweiger as to become the full-time police chief. I think in the interview, they both interviewed well, and it was real close. The council between, even though it was a 4-1 vote, I think it was closer than that in choosing the police chief back then. And I think he's done an admirable job. We kind of had a little trial by fire period here, and I think he did great. And I think I think he's proven that he can do the job. If there was any doubts in the interview process, I think he's proven that, and I think we should appoint him as the full-time chief.
Okay, is that a motion?
I guess I didn't know if there was going to be any more discussion, but I would like to make a motion we appoint him as the full-time chief.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, is there any discussion? I'd like to say a couple things. Todd, you were really thrown into a tough situation, both with Jake's leaving and with some of the other things that were happening around town. And I commend you, you just shined beautifully. You took this city right through that and got through those rough waters. You did a fantastic job. Thank you for that. And with that, is there any further discussion? Then let me call for the vote.
I do have one thing.
Yes?
Do you want to do it?
I'll take on the challenge.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, so, all those in favor of appointing Sergeant Schweiger as our police chief signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, chief. Okay, moving on to reports of council members. Mr. Brown. Mr. What?
We need to move back to the nepotism policy.
Okay.
Delete section D.
We delete section C or D?
D.
D is a delta.
It's a D. Be section B of the personnel policies on page 17 currently states that relatives may be hired only if they are the most qualified and they will not be supervised by another relative. In addition, relatives may not work in the same department unless at least one of the two positions is a temporary or seasonal position and the appointment is approved by the city administrator. Regular full-time and part-time employees may not be hired to work in the same department. For this policy only, relatives does not include spouses. So at the appointment of the chief, we would be recommending deletion of that provision of personnel policies.
Okay. So you need another motion on that?
Yeah, please.
I'll make a motion, we delete section D of the personnel policy.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of deleting section D of the personnel policy signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move on to reports from council members. Mr. Brown.
Nothing this evening.
Mr. Skordal?
I just had two things. I just wanted to make a comment that I thought the city did a fabulous job saying goodbye to our former chief. That was the first law enforcement funeral I've ever been to. And I think I mentioned on our neighborhood Facebook page, if you can get through Amazing Grace done on bagpipes without a tear in your eye, you're not human. So I think overall the city did a fabulous job. All your departments that were involved, all the personnel that were there, it was, given the situation in the day, we did a fabulous job. It was about time our city was in a positive light. Well, given the subject matter, it was kind of tough, but Carol Levin did a nice news story on us, so I commend everybody who participated. It was a great day. And the only other thing I had, I think I noticed, was there an upgrade to the audio in here? Like when Barb was handing out these things, I thought I heard some better sound qualities, and then I was going to ask these folks if they could hear the people at the podium very well.
No.
And I still don't think we've solved our issues, have we? We're trying to deliver a better product in here.
Are they on?
Yes.
They are on?
If we can get past them here.
Yeah. So I guess, Joe, we still haven't reached the holy grail of city council chambers in somebody else's building, but, so anyway, so I think the feedback I got was, you probably can't hear people at the podium very well when you're sitting back there, right? So, I don't know what it is online, but it's something we still need to keep working on. That's it.
All right, Mr. Wilson?
Nothing to report.
Report from the mayor. Since this is my last full meeting, I want to say thank you to all the voters for allowing me to last 14 years of public service. The one thing I will take away from this more than anything was my push to get defibrillators in police cars. Jake told me, to his knowledge, there was one drowning victim saved because the police department had a defibrillator. And if I take anything away, that's my crowning issue, is that we got that done, and we got all of those in there. To city staff, thank you. You're all golden, you're great. You've got a really solid foundation of people here, a really solid foundation. We've come a long way with staff over the years, from when I first started. We've got a solid group here that works together. Everybody works together. All of their reports work with them. When I first started on the council, there was a lot of this, a lot of problems. We've gotten through all that. We've gotten things done. We've done a lot of stuff in the last few years. And this city is poised to start moving in the right direction. We really are. I think we're getting over that hump now. I think we're going to start moving along. So with that, thank you to everyone.
I have a point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I want to understand something here. I didn't see a resolution 2016-69. What I did see was ordinance 226 for roll call. So did I miss something here?
To the beginning of the meeting.
That was it. After.
It's a summary publication.
Okay, but was there not, for ordinance 226, was that not for a roll call, or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, the ordinance was.
Right. So where was the 2016-69? I don't see that on the agenda, so that's why I'm wondering where it was.
That was the
From
end.
67 to 68, but I don't see a 69 anywhere on the agenda.
Right, that was the end of out here.
Oh, and off to you guys?
Yeah.
So we didn't see that, okay, that's what I was wondering. Thank you.
All right, is there any old business? Moving on to new business, I have one piece. And I don't think we've discussed this. If we have, I totally forgotten about it. I would like the city to buy a brick for Woodbury Park in Jake's honor, as we did as a parting gift for Jeff. Council, do you join me in that?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Do you need a motion on that?
Please.
I would like to make that motion, that we do that.
I'll second it.
Mr. Brown seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of buying a brick for Chief Railing for Woodbury Park, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Is there any other new business? Then for the last time, we stand adjourned. Thank you.